Right now, at this very moment, you're living in a reality that's smaller than what's actually possible for you. Not because you lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because somewhere along the way, you accepted limitations that were never really yours to begin with. You inherited them from well-meaning parents who were terrified you'd get hurt, absorbed them from disappointed teachers who had given up on their own dreams, collected them from friends who mistook cynicism for wisdom. These limitations don't feel like lies because they've been with you so long. They've become part of your identity. They whisper in your own voice, using your own logic, presenting themselves as wisdom and protection. They construct elaborate stories about why you should stay where you are, why you should be grateful for what you have, why you should stop wanting more. But here's what they don't want you to realize. These aren't truths about reality. They're just stories, and stories can be rewritten by the author. You are the author. The human brain is a marvel of evolution, capable of processing millions of bits of information every second. Yet it operates on programs that were designed for survival in a world that no longer exists. It's wired to spot danger, avoid pain, and maintain the status quo at all costs. Your brain treats uncertainty as threat, change as danger, and growth as risk. It would rather keep you miserable but safe than happy but vulnerable. But you, the real you, the consciousness that observes your thoughts rather than being trapped by them, you have the power to override these ancient survival programs. You can choose to see uncertainty as adventure, change as opportunity, discomfort as the price of growth. This isn't positive thinking or denial of reality. This is recognizing that you are not your thoughts, you are not your fears, and you are certainly not the voice that tells you to stay small and play it safe. Consider this. Every morning, you wake up with the same fundamental power that built civilizations, launched revolutions, created every piece of art that has ever moved you, and developed every innovation that has improved human life. The power to choose, not just what to wear or eat, but who to become, what to believe, how to interpret everything that happens to you. You can choose courage over comfort, growth over safety, possibility over certainty, love over fear. Yet most people sleepwalk through this incredible gift. They make the same choices day after day, follow the same mental patterns, react to situations the same way they always have, and then wonder why their lives feel stuck in an endless loop. They're like someone standing in front of an enormous banquet of possibilities, eating the same stale sandwich because it's familiar. The tragedy isn't that they don't have options. It's that they've forgotten how to see them. But something inside you is awakening to these possibilities, isn't it? You can feel it stirring, that recognition that there's more available to you than what you're currently experiencing. That feeling isn't just hope or wishful thinking. It's your consciousness recognizing truth. It's your authentic self reminding you of who you really are, beneath all the layers of conditioning, compromise, and quiet desperation. Let me share something that will fundamentally shift how you see yourself and your potential. Every expert was once a complete beginner who had no idea what they were doing. Every master started as someone who was terrible at their craft. Every person you admire, every success story that inspires you, every achievement that seems impossible from where you sit, they all began with someone who felt unprepared, uncertain, and absolutely terrified. The Wright brothers were bicycle mechanics who decided to solve the problem of human flight. Marie Curie was a Polish immigrant who couldn't afford proper laboratory equipment. Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty and faced more rejection than most people experience in a lifetime. Colonel Sanders was 62 years old when he franchised KFC. What separated these individuals from millions of others with similar dreams wasn't superior preparation, perfect circumstances, or the absence of fear. It was their willingness to act despite uncertainty, to move forward despite feeling unprepared. They understood something that successful people throughout history have discovered. Readiness isn't a feeling that arrives like a package delivery. It's a decision you make despite not feeling ready. Confidence doesn't create action. Action creates confidence. You don't have to feel brave to act bravely. You don't have to feel capable to demonstrate capability. You don't have to have all the answers to take the first step into the unknown. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. No amount of studying balance, physics, or momentum could prepare you for the actual experience of staying upright on two wheels. You had to get on the bike and wobble, fall, get back up, and try again until your body learned what your mind couldn't teach it. Life works the same way. You learn by doing, not by preparing to do. This principle applies to every area of your existence. The relationship you haven't pursued because you might get hurt. The business idea you haven't acted on because you don't have enough capital. The creative project you haven't started because you think you're not talented enough. The conversation you haven't had because it might be uncomfortable. The dream you haven't chased because it seems unrealistic given your current circumstances. All of these represent opportunities disguised as obstacles, possibilities masquerading as problems. Your brain, desperate to keep you safe, has convinced you that these are legitimate barriers when they're actually invitations to grow, to expand, to become more than you currently are. But here's where most people get trapped in an endless cycle of preparation. They wait for inspiration to strike like lightning, for motivation to arrive like a scheduled train, for confidence to download into their consciousness fully formed. They don't realize that successful people don't wait for these feelings. They create them through action. They understand that the path reveals itself to those who begin walking, not to those who stand at the starting line with a map, compass, and detailed weather report. Let's talk about what you really want. Beneath all the practical considerations and reasonable limitations that have been programmed into your thinking. What would you attempt if you knew failure was impossible? What would you create if resources weren't a concern? What would you become if other people's opinions carried no weight in your decisions? Who would you be if you could design yourself from scratch, free from all the stories about what's realistic for someone with your background, education, age, or circumstances? These aren't just hypothetical questions designed to make you feel good. They're reconnaissance missions into the depths of your authentic desires, revealing the dreams that are uniquely yours to fulfill. Your dreams aren't random accidents or products of wishful thinking. They're assignments from your highest self, breadcrumbs leading you toward your greatest potential, glimpses of the person you're capable of becoming. The fact that you can imagine something means it exists in the realm of possibility for you. The fact that certain dreams stir something deep inside you means they're connected to your purpose, aligned with your authentic path. Your imagination isn't a source of torture, showing you things you can't have. It's a preview of coming attractions, a trailer for the movie of your life that you have the power to direct. But here's what keeps most people trapped in the gap between dreaming and achieving. They confuse the magnitude of their dreams with the size of their first steps. They think that big visions require big initial actions, massive investments, perfect plans, and ideal circumstances. They don't realize that every transformation, no matter how dramatic, begins with tiny adjustments, micro decisions, and small brave choices that compound over time into extraordinary results. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow to start building your business empire. You can begin with 30 minutes before work, creating something meaningful while the world sleeps. You don't need to move across the country to pursue your dreams of artistic expression. You can start where you are, with what you have, transforming your current space into a laboratory for creativity. You don't need to have everything figured out before you begin. You figure it out by beginning, adjust course as you go, and trust that clarity comes through action, not before it. The compound effect of small, consistent actions is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Yet it's invisible to most people because they're looking for dramatic, immediate results. If you saved a single penny today and doubled it every day for a month, you'd have over $5 million. But most people would look at that penny and think it's insignificant. They focus on the size of the action instead of the power of consistency, on the starting point instead of the trajectory. Your current circumstances are not your permanent address. They're your temporary mailing address while you're under construction. Where you come from doesn't determine where you can go. Your past doesn't define your future unless you keep using it as a reference point for what's possible. Every sunrise brings a new opportunity to choose a different direction, make a different decision, become a different version of yourself. But this requires something that's become rare in our instant gratification culture. Patience with the process and impatience with inaction. Most people have it backwards. They're patient with staying stuck and impatient with growth. They want overnight success from part-time commitment, immediate results from minimal effort, life-changing transformation from comfortable choices. Real transformation works differently. It requires you to fall in love with the daily practice, not just the eventual outcome. To find joy in the process of becoming, not just the moment of arrival. To celebrate small victories while working toward large visions. To trust that consistent movement in the right direction will eventually lead to extraordinary destinations, even when you can't see progress from day to day. Think of a bamboo plant, one of nature's most remarkable examples of patient persistence. For the first 4 years of its life, you see almost nothing above ground, just a tiny shoot that seems to grow impossibly slowly. But during those 4 years of apparent inactivity, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. The plant is developing an extensive root system, creating the foundation that will eventually support incredible growth. In the 5th year, that same bamboo can grow up to 90 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Your personal transformation follows the same pattern. The habits you're building today, the skills you're developing, the mindset shifts you're making. They might not be visible to others yet, but they're creating the internal infrastructure that will support your eventual breakthrough. The foundation you're laying in private will determine the height of the success you can build in public. This is why so many people give up just before their breakthrough moment. They plant seeds and expect immediate flowers. They start exercising and expect instant physical transformation. They begin learning a new skill and expect immediate mastery. When they don't see dramatic results quickly, they conclude that their efforts aren't working and abandon their dreams, never realizing they were just seasons away from harvest time. But you understand something that separates successful people from everyone else. Everything worthwhile takes time to develop. You're willing to invest in your future self, to make choices today that will benefit the person you're becoming tomorrow. You recognize that success isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's not about never falling down. It's about getting up one more time than you fall, learning something valuable from each stumble. Every setback contains the seeds of a comeback. Every failure provides feedback that success never could. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to develop strength, resilience, and character. The challenges you face aren't punishments for some cosmic crime you didn't commit. They're preparations. The universe's way of making sure you're ready for the level of success that's coming your way. Your unique combination of experiences, perspectives, struggles, and insights creates a lens through which you see the world that no one else in human history has ever possessed or ever will possess. Your exact mixture of strengths and vulnerabilities, victories and defeats, dreams and disappointments has equipped you with solutions to problems that others can't even see. Answers to questions that others don't know how to ask. You're not just seeking personal success for selfish reasons. Whether you realize it or not, you're developing the capacity to serve others in ways that only you can. Your transformation becomes evidence that change is possible, that dreams are achievable, that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they decide to stop accepting ordinary results. The challenges you're facing right now, the obstacles that seem to be blocking your path, these aren't cosmic mistakes or evidence that you're not meant for success. They're specifically designed resistance training for your character. Customized obstacles that will develop exactly the qualities you need to handle the level of success you're moving toward. Think about it. If you achieved everything you wanted right now, this instant, without any growth or preparation, would you be ready to handle it? Would you have the character to manage it wisely? Would you have the skills to sustain it? Would you have the perspective to use it well? The delays and challenges you're experiencing aren't keeping you from your destiny. They're preparing you for it. This is why successful people often talk about being grateful for their failures, their rejections, their periods of struggle. Not because they enjoyed the pain, but because they recognized that those experiences forged the strength, wisdom, and resilience that made their eventual success possible. Without the struggle, they wouldn't have developed the capacity to handle the victory. But here's what most people don't understand about the relationship between struggle and success. It's not about enduring more pain than others or suffering longer than everyone else. It's about extracting value from your experiences, learning faster from your mistakes, and refusing to let temporary defeats become permanent identities. Every morning when you wake up, you're presented with a choice that will determine the trajectory of your entire day, and ultimately, your entire life. You can choose to see the day ahead as a burden to be endured or an adventure to be embraced. You can focus on what's missing from your life or what's possible in your future. You can rehearse old limitations or practice new possibilities. Most people make this choice unconsciously, defaulting to whatever mental pattern has become habitual. But conscious creators, people who deliberately design their lives instead of just accepting whatever happens, make this choice intentionally. They understand that how you start your day determines how you live your life. Your thoughts aren't random events that happen to you. They're choices you make, often unconsciously, but choices nonetheless. You can choose to think thoughts that empower you, or thoughts that diminish you. You can choose to focus on problems or possibilities, on what's wrong or what's working, on what you lack or what you're creating. This isn't about positive thinking or denying reality. This is about recognizing that your perspective shapes your experience, that your focus determines your feelings, that your mental habits create your life patterns. When you change how you think, you change how you feel. When you change how you feel, you change how you act. And when you change how you act, you change what happens to you. The most successful people aren't those who never face challenges. They're those who have developed the ability to see opportunities disguised as obstacles, to find gifts hidden inside apparent setbacks, to extract wisdom from every experience, whether it feels good or not. This skill isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you develop through practice, like building a muscle. Every time you choose a more empowering perspective, you strengthen your ability to do it again. Every time you reframe a challenge as an opportunity, you make it easier to see the next challenge differently. But this requires something that goes against everything our culture teaches us: the willingness to take responsibility for your life at a level that most people aren't prepared to accept. Not responsibility for everything that happens to you. Some things are genuinely outside your control, but responsibility for how you respond to everything that happens to you. This is perhaps the most liberating and terrifying realization you can have. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your response to your circumstances. You cannot always control what happens, but you can always choose what it means and what you'll do about it. When you truly internalize this truth, everything changes. You stop waiting for your circumstances to improve and start improving your response to your circumstances. You stop looking for someone to rescue you and start developing your own rescue skills. You stop hoping for an easier life and start building your capacity to handle a more challenging and rewarding one. The world needs what you have to offer, but not someday when you're perfect, not eventually when you have all the credentials, not later when you feel completely ready. The world needs your unique contribution now, in all your beautiful imperfection, with your authentic struggles and genuine passion. There are people waiting for the solution you'll create, the art you'll make, the business you'll build, the love you'll share, the example you'll set. There are problems that only you can solve, not because you're better than everyone else, but because your unique combination of experiences and insights has prepared you to see solutions that others miss. But none of this matters if you don't bridge the gap between insight and action, between understanding and implementation, between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. Inspiration without implementation is just emotion. The distance between where you are and where you want to be can only be covered through decision and movement. So here's your moment of truth, your crossroads, your 5-second window expanded into this eternal present moment. You can close this message and return to your familiar patterns, your comfortable limitations, your reasonable excuses. You can let this stirring of possibility fade back into the background noise of everyday life, like so many stirrings before it. You can choose safety over growth, certainty over adventure, the known over the possible. Or you can recognize this moment for what it really is, an invitation from your highest self to step into the life you've always known was possible, but never quite believed you deserved. You can choose to see this not as just another piece of inspirational content, but as the catalyst for your transformation, the spark that ignites the fire of your authentic power. The choice is yours, as it always has been, as it always will be. But choices, like opportunities, don't wait forever. Every moment you delay is a moment you can never recover. Every day you postpone is a day your future self will never get back. The perfect moment is a fairy tale told by those who are too afraid to act. The right time is now. The right person is you.
Have you ever witnessed profound personal transformation? These transformations rarely happen by accident. They occur when people stop waiting for life to change and start changing it themselves. Look around you. The people who seem to be thriving, the ones with fulfilling relationships, meaningful work, and a sense of purpose, they aren't just lucky. They've discovered something essential that many people never grasp. True power comes from within. After studying success and transformation for years, I've discovered a pattern, a common thread that runs through every story of profound personal change. Today, I want to share with you the secret that can change your life. It's not complicated, but it is challenging. It's not mysterious, but it is profound. It's about taking control of 4 fundamental areas that determine the quality of your existence. Let me be clear, I'm not talking about controlling others or even controlling all of your circumstances. Life will always throw curveballs. The economy will fluctuate. People will disappoint you. The weather won't check with you before it rains on your parade. But there are 4 domains where you have absolute authority if you choose to claim it. Master these 4 areas, and you'll develop an internal power that no external circumstance can diminish. Number 1. Your words. The seeds of your reality. Every word you speak plants a seed. These seeds grow into the garden of your life. Many people don't understand this. They complain constantly about their jobs, about their relationships, about the opportunities they don't have, and their lives reflect those very complaints. The universe is simply taking orders from you. If you keep ordering limitations, that's what you'll receive. Think about the last conversation you had. Were your words building bridges or burning them? Were you speaking life into dreams or crushing them with doubt? Were you gossiping, criticizing, complaining, or were you encouraging, appreciating, affirming? Your words are like whispers to the universe. When you declare "I can't," the universe responds, "As you wish." When you affirm "I will find a way," doors begin to open. This isn't spiritual mumbo-jumbo. It's the practical reality of how our minds work. The words you speak loop back into your subconscious, reinforcing your beliefs about what's possible. They become the soundtrack playing in the background of your consciousness. Consider how this plays out in your relationships. When you say "you always do this" or "you never listen," you're not just expressing frustration, you're cementing a perception that makes it nearly impossible to see anything different. You've literally programmed yourself to notice only evidence that confirms your statement. But when you shift to saying, "I've noticed this pattern," or "I feel unheard when this happens," you create space for growth and change. Your words move from accusation to invitation. This extends to how you talk about your challenges. Compare these 2 statements. "This is such a nightmare. Nothing ever works out for me. This is challenging, but I'm finding my way through it." The first statement closes doors. The second opens them. The first surrenders power. The second claims it. Challenge yourself. For just 1 week, become intensely aware of your language. Keep a small notebook with you. Make a tally mark every time you catch yourself using disempowering language. Eliminate phrases like "I can't," "that's impossible," or "I'm not good enough." Replace them with "I'm figuring this out," "I'm looking for solutions," and "I'm growing into this challenge." Pay special attention to the hidden power drains in your speech. Phrases like "I'll try," which presupposes potential failure, "I hope," which suggests doubt, or I should, which implies obligation rather than choice. Replace them with I will, I expect, and I choose to. Watch what happens. You'll feel a shift, subtle at first, then unmistakable. Your confidence will grow, your relationships will deepen, opportunities will appear where before there seemed to be none. Your words don't just reveal your thoughts, they shape them. They don't just describe your life, they direct it. Master your words and you begin to master your life. Number 2, your mind, the command center of your destiny. Your mind is like the most sophisticated computer ever created. But here's the question, are you programming it, or is it running on default settings installed by others? Many people let their minds run wild. One anxious thought spirals into catastrophic scenarios. One setback convinces them they're destined to fail. They lie awake at night, their minds racing with worries about things that might never happen. They live reactively, not proactively. The truth is, your mind will either work for you or against you. There is no neutral ground. Let me explain the mechanics of how this works. Your brain processes approximately 60,000 thoughts per day. Research from the National Science Foundation suggests that about 80% of those thoughts are negative, and 95% are repetitive thoughts from the previous day. Think about that. Without intervention, your mind naturally gravitates toward the negative and keeps recycling the same limiting patterns. But here's the good news: neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections means you can literally rewire your thought patterns. Every time you catch a negative thought and deliberately replace it with a constructive one, you're not just changing that moment, you're physically reshaping your brain. When you learn to direct your thoughts to catch the negative ones before they take root, to focus on solutions instead of problems, to see opportunities where others see obstacles, you unlock a power most people never experience. This isn't about positive thinking that ignores reality. It's about strategic thinking that transforms reality. Start with awareness. Notice the narrative playing in your head right now. Is it empowering you or limiting you? Is it focused on what you can control or what you can't? Is it dwelling on the past, worrying about the future, or engaged with the present? Try this exercise. For one day, carry a small notebook. Make a mark every time you use a negative thought. Don't judge it, just observe it. At the end of the day, count the marks. Most people are shocked by how many they have. This simple awareness is the first step to change. Then practice intentional thought redirection. When fear says you'll fail, respond with I'll learn. When doubt whispers you're not ready, answer with I'll grow through this. When comparison tells you everyone else has it figured out, reply with I'm on my own unique path. Feed your mind daily with wisdom that expands your vision. What are you consuming mentally? Just as food builds your physical body, information builds your mental landscape. Are you filling your mind with gossip, complaints, and sensationalized news, or with insights, solutions, and possibilities? Read books that challenge your thinking. Listen to voices that have overcome what you're facing. Set aside 20 minutes each morning for this mental nutrition before exposing yourself to the demands and distractions of the day. Create a success environment for your thoughts. Surround yourself with people who believe in possibilities rather than limitations. And don't underestimate the power of visualization. Athletes do this instinctively. They see the perfect shot, the flawless routine, the victorious finish before it happens physically. Olympic gold medalist Michael Phelps famously visualized every detail of his races, right down to water temperature and potential equipment failures, mentally rehearsing how he would handle each scenario. Your mind doesn't always distinguish between vivid imagination and actual experience. Use this to your advantage. Every morning, when you wake up, take 5 minutes to visualize yourself succeeding, overcoming challenges with grace, and living with purpose. See the details, the environment, the people involved, the words exchanged, the emotions felt. This isn't daydreaming, it's mental rehearsal for excellence. A study at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation found that people who visualized exercising a specific muscle group increased their actual physical strength by 13.5% without doing any physical exercise. That's how powerful your mind is. It can literally strengthen your body just through focused thought. Develop mindfulness practices that help you observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. Meditation, even just 5 minutes daily, creates space between you and your thoughts. It helps you recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the one who can choose which thoughts to nurture and which to release. When you take command of your mind, you take command of your destiny. As Marcus Aurelius wrote nearly 2,000 years ago, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Number 3, your mood, the energy that attracts your future. Have you ever been around someone who lights up a room just by entering it, or conversely, someone who drains all the energy from a space? That's the power of mood, and it's yours to control. Your emotional state isn't just how you feel, it's the energy you broadcast to the world. And like a magnet, it attracts matching experiences. Many people believe their feelings are dictated by their circumstances. Bad things happen, so they feel bad. Good things happen, so they feel good. They are emotional reactors, not creators. But here's a transformative concept: emotional responsibility. The idea is simple yet profound. While you can't control what happens to you, you have absolute dominion over how you respond emotionally. Try experimenting with this idea. In the middle of chaos, intentionally shift your mood. Before meetings, take 2 minutes to breathe deeply and conjure feelings of confidence and enthusiasm, regardless of how you actually feel. When dealing with challenging people, silently wish them well before engaging, triggering a more compassionate response in yourself. The results can be dramatic. Conversations become more productive. New opportunities emerge. Solutions to problems you've been wrestling with for weeks suddenly become clear. Same circumstances, different energy. Here's something revolutionary. Emotions are not just reactions, they're choices. This doesn't mean denying authentic feelings. When something painful happens, feel that pain, acknowledge it, but don't build a home there. Visitors are welcome, permanent residents are not. The secret is emotional agility, the ability to experience your feelings without being controlled by them. Start with this understanding. Feelings are real but not always reliable narrators of your reality. Just because you feel inadequate doesn't mean you are. Just because you feel hopeless doesn't mean there is no hope. Just because you feel like a failure doesn't mean you failed. It might just mean you're learning. Consider how this plays out physically. Research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that how people perceive stress impacts whether that stress is damaging. Those who viewed their stress response, racing heart, faster breathing, as their body preparing them for challenge, showed different physiological responses than those who viewed the same symptoms as harmful. The meaning they assigned to the feeling literally changed its effect on their bodies. You can apply this same principle to your emotional states. When anxiety rises before a presentation, instead of thinking I'm nervous because this might go badly, try I'm excited because this matters to me. Same physical sensation, different interpretation, vastly different outcome. Practice emotional self-awareness. Several times throughout your day, check in with yourself. What am I feeling right now? Is this emotion serving me or limiting me? What would be a more empowering way to feel? Cultivate gratitude intentionally. Each morning, identify 3 specific things you're grateful for. Not just my family, but the way my daughter laughed during our game last night, or how my partner supported me during that difficult conversation. A study at the University of California found that people who practiced gratitude consistently reported 25% higher happiness levels, better physical health, and stronger relationships. The act of looking for things to appreciate literally trains your brain to find more things to appreciate. Movement changes emotion instantly. When you feel stuck emotionally, change your physical state. Stand up, stretch, go for a brisk walk. Your body and emotions are intimately connected. The research on this is compelling. Just 10 minutes of physical activity can boost your mood for up to 2 hours by releasing endorphins and shifting your brain chemistry. It doesn't need to be intense exercise. Even gentle movement breaks the pattern of negative emotions. Use the power of music to shift your mood. Create playlists for different emotional states you want to cultivate. Confidence, calm, creativity, energy. Music bypasses your conscious mind and speaks directly to your emotional brain. Employ the as-if principle. When you act as if you feel a certain way, you often begin to genuinely feel that way. Before an important meeting where you need to be confident but are feeling anything but, stand in a power pose for 2 minutes, feet planted, shoulders back, hands on hips. Research by social psychologist Amy Cuddy shows that just 2 minutes in this posture increases testosterone, confidence hormone, and decreases cortisol, stress hormone. Remember this, your mood isn't just affecting you, it's affecting everyone around you. It's either elevating or diminishing each interaction. Think of yourself as an emotional broadcaster. What frequency are you transmitting? Is it one that attracts what you want into your life? Choose to be a source of positive energy, not because it's polite, but because it's powerful. Not because it benefits others, though it does, but because it transforms your own experience. When you control your mood, you control the lens through which you see the world, and when that lens changes, everything changes. Number 4. Your money, the resource that fuels your freedom. Money is neither good nor evil. It's a neutral tool that amplifies who you already are. Yet so many people have a complicated, often painful relationship with money. They either worship it or fear it. They chase it desperately or avoid thinking about it entirely. Many people avoid looking at their bank accounts. They cringe when the ATM prints their balance. They throw away bills unopened because they're afraid to face them. They spend emotionally, save sporadically, and wonder why financial stress is their constant companion. Here's what can change everything: realizing that money responds to management, not magic. So many people are waiting for some financial miracle, a big inheritance, winning the lottery, a sudden promotion, or a brilliant business idea that will solve all their problems overnight. But lasting financial transformation rarely happens that way. Consider the sobering statistics about lottery winners. According to the National Endowment for Financial Education, about 70% of people who suddenly receive large sums of money, whether through lotteries, settlements, or inheritances, lose it all within a few years. Why? Because they gained money without gaining money management skills. Financial freedom isn't about having unlimited resources, it's about mastering the resources you have. It's about making intentional choices rather than impulsive decisions. It's about understanding that every financial choice either moves you toward freedom or toward bondage. Start with brutal honesty. Where exactly is your money going? Track every dollar for 30 days. No judgments, just awareness. Most people are shocked to discover where their money actually goes versus where they think it goes. Create a purposeful plan. Every dollar in your life should have a job before it arrives. Saving, investing, giving, enjoying. Without this direction, money slips through your fingers like water. A simple system called the 4 walls and beyond can help. First wall, necessities, housing, food, utilities, transportation. Second wall, debt elimination. Third wall, emergency fund. 6 months of expenses. Fourth wall, future planning, retirement, education, etc. Beyond, lifestyle enhancement and generosity. Each dollar flows through this system with clear priorities. This isn't about restriction, it's about intention. You're not saying no to spending, you're saying yes to purpose. Distinguish between wants and needs. Our culture bombards us with messages designed to confuse these two. That latest gadget, that designer item, that upgraded experience. Ask yourself, will this purchase bring me closer to my goals or further away? This doesn't mean living a joyless existence of deprivation. It means making conscious trade-offs. It means understanding that every yes to an impulse purchase is potentially a no to something more meaningful, long-term. Consider implementing a 24-hour rule for any purchase over $100 and a 1-week rule for any purchase over $500. This simple cooling-off period allows you to distinguish between genuine needs and emotion-driven wants. Build your financial fortress brick by brick. Start with an emergency fund. Even $1,000 can prevent a setback from becoming a crisis. Then systematically eliminate debt. Then build savings. Then invest for growth. Too many people try to do everything at once, become overwhelmed, and abandon their financial plans altogether. Focus your financial energy like a laser on one goal at a time. The momentum you build will carry you through to the next goal. Learn the language of money. Financial literacy isn't optional, it's essential. You don't need to become an expert, but you need to understand basic concepts. Compound interest, tax efficiency, inflation, asset allocation. Many people avoid learning about money because they find it intimidating or boring. But this knowledge gap costs them thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. Consider your income as seriously as your expenses. Most financial advice focuses heavily on spending less, but increasing your earning potential is equally important. Invest in developing marketable skills. Look for entrepreneurial opportunities. Create additional income stream. Remember this: wealth isn't measured by what you spend, it's measured by what you keep and grow. The goal isn't to become obsessed with money. The goal is to be so intentional with it that you create space for what truly matters: relationships, experiences, contribution, purpose. When you control your money rather than letting it control you, you're not just building a bank account, you're building a legacy. These 4 areas, your words, your mind, your mood, and your money, aren't separate compartments. They're interconnected dimensions of your life that either work together harmoniously or create chaos through conflict. When you speak words of possibility while your mind dwells on limitations, you create internal friction. When you try to manage your money wisely but let your mood drive impulsive spending, you sabotage your own efforts. True mastery comes from alignment, when what you say, think, feel, and do all point in the same direction. Start where you are. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tonight. Choose one area that needs the most attention right now. Make one small change, then another, then another. Transformation isn't an event. It's a process of consistent, intentional choices that compound over time. Your life isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. To your words, your thoughts, your emotions, and your decisions about resources. Take back the controls. Start today. Start now. Because the truth is, no one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to make these changes for you. No one can want your success more than you do. But here's the beautiful part. You already have everything you need to begin this journey. The power has always been within you, waiting to be claimed. So I ask you, if not now, when? If not you, who? Your future self is watching, hoping you'll make the choice to take control. What will you decide? The power is in your hands. The time is now. Your extraordinary life awaits.
My friends, tonight, I want to tell you something that will revolutionize your entire understanding of imagination. Something so profound, so simple, yet so overlooked, that most of humanity sleeps through life, never discovering this divine secret. Every time you imagine, truly imagine, you are not daydreaming. You are not merely entertaining yourself with pleasant fantasies. No, my friend, you are doing something far more sacred, far more powerful than you have ever been taught to believe. You are tuning your radio into the station of your desire. Stop for a moment and consider this. When you turn the dial on your radio and tune into a particular station, that music, that program, was already being broadcast. It was already there, waiting for you to find the right frequency. Your radio didn't create the music. It simply tuned into what was already being transmitted through the invisible airwaves. So it is with imagination. The Bible tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Tonight, I will show you that your imagination is that very faith. Your imagination is the divine substance from which all things are formed. Let me tell you about a woman who came to one of my lectures. She was 45 years old, had been single for 15 years, and had given up all hope of ever finding love. "Mr. Goddard," she said, "I've tried everything. I've been to every social gathering. I've asked friends to introduce me to suitable men. Nothing works. I'm destined to be alone." I looked at her and asked one simple question. "What station is your imagination tuned into?" She looked puzzled. "I don't understand." "Every night," I said, "when you go to bed, what do you imagine about your romantic life?" Her face fell. "Well, I suppose I imagine coming home to an empty apartment, eating dinner alone, wondering why I can't find someone who loves me." "Madam," I told her, "you have tuned your imagination to the station of loneliness, and you are faithfully broadcasting that frequency 24 hours a day. The universe has no choice but to give you more of what you're broadcasting." 6 months later, that same woman wrote to me. She was engaged to a wonderful man who adored her. What changed? Not her circumstances, not her appearance, not her social situation. She learned how to change the station. Tonight, I want to reveal to you the precise method by which imagination operates. I want to show you how every image you form in your mind becomes a tuning fork that attracts its physical counterpart. And most importantly, I want to give you the exact technique to consciously select the station of your desire and remain faithful to its frequency. But first, let me ask you, have you ever noticed that some people seem to effortlessly attract what they want, while others struggle and strain and never get ahead? The difference is not education. It's not luck. It's not even hard work. The difference is that they know how to tune their imagination to the frequency of their fulfilled desire. Your imagination, my friend, is like a magnificent radio receiver. But unlike the radio in your living room, your consciousness can tune into any station in the infinite broadcasting system of God's universe. Think of it this way. Right now, at this very moment, there are dozens of radio programs being broadcast through the air around you. Music, news, drama, comedy, all of it is there, waiting for you to tune in. But if your radio is set to station 75.2 FM, you will only hear what's playing on 75.2 FM. You won't hear the beautiful symphony being broadcast on 92.5 FM, even though it's there. So it is with the states of consciousness. There is a state called wealth, broadcasting its program right now. There is a state called perfect health, playing its healing frequency this very moment. There is a state called ideal love, transmitting its beautiful story of romance and companionship. All of these states exist right now. They are as real as the radio waves carrying music through your room. The only question is, which one are you tuned into? When you imagine something, when you see it clearly in your mind's eye, you are turning the dial of your consciousness to tune into a parallel reality where that desire is already fulfilled. You are picking up the broadcast from a version of yourself who is already living that life. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is the actual mechanism by which the unseen becomes seen, by which the desired becomes the experienced. Scripture says, "In my Father's house are many mansions." What are these mansions but different states of consciousness? Different stations broadcasting different realities. And Christ said, "I go to prepare a place for you." That place is prepared the moment you tune into it with your imagination. Most people spend their entire lives tuned into the station called lack or struggle, or I cannot have what I want. They listen to this dreary program day after day, year after year, wondering why their life never changes. They complain about the programming, but they never think to change the station. But tonight, I'm going to show you how to change the station using 3 simple words that will transform your entire existence. See it, feel it, be it. Before I give you the technique, let me warn you about the fatal mistake that keeps 99% of humanity trapped in unwanted realities. They tune into their desire for a moment. Perhaps they imagine being wealthy for a few seconds, and then immediately they look around at their present circumstances. They see their bills, their empty bank account, their struggling business, and they say, "Well, that was nice to imagine, but it's not real." My friend, when you do this, you have committed spiritual suicide. You have tuned into the station of your heart's desire, begun to hear its beautiful music, and then immediately switched back to the static of your present conditions. I once knew a man who dreamed of owning his own business. Every morning on his way to his factory job, he would imagine for a few minutes what it would be like to be his own boss. But then he would arrive at work, see his supervisor, punch his time card, and say to himself, "Stop dreaming. You're just a factory worker. You'll never have your own business." For 20 years, he did this. 20 years of tuning into success for 5 minutes, and then tuning into limitation for the remaining 23 hours and 55 minutes of his day. One day I asked him, if you owned a radio and wanted to hear a symphony, would you tune into the classical station for 30 seconds and then immediately turn to a station playing static for the rest of the evening? Of course not, he replied. That would be foolish. Then why? I asked. Do you tune into the station of business success for 5 minutes each morning and then immediately return to the station of I'm just a factory worker for the rest of your day? That man learned to remain faithful to his desired station. Within 2 years, he owned 3 successful businesses. The difference was not opportunity. The difference was faithfulness to the frequency of his fulfilled desire. When you desire something, the first step is to see it, not just glance at it quickly in your mind and then return to your problems. No, you must see it as clearly as if you were looking at a photograph in your family album. Most people, when they try to imagine, make a crucial error. They imagine themselves wanting the thing. They see themselves hoping for it, wishing for it, trying to get it. This is completely wrong. When you imagine yourself wanting something, you are tuning into the station called wanting, and the universe will give you more wanting. Instead, you must imagine the thing as already accomplished. You must see yourself already having it, already being it, already living in the fulfillment of your desire. If you desire a new home, don't imagine yourself looking at houses, hoping to find one you can afford. Instead, imagine yourself already living in your ideal home. See yourself having breakfast in your beautiful kitchen. See yourself entertaining friends in your lovely living room. See yourself sleeping peacefully in your perfect bedroom. Imagine you're at the cinema, watching a moving picture of your life. But in this picture, you already have what you desire. You already are who you want to be. You are watching yourself living in the fulfillment of your wish. Make this mental picture as vivid as a memory. See the colors, notice the details, observe the furniture, feel the textures. The more real you make it in imagination, the stronger the signal you are receiving from that station. Now here's where most people fail miserably. They see it for a moment, perhaps 5 or 10 seconds. And then they immediately look around at their present circumstances. They see their current apartment, their present income, their existing situation, and they say, well, it's not here, so it must not be real. But my friend, when you do this, you've immediately tuned away from the station of your desire and back to the station of your current conditions. You must learn to hold that vision. When you see your desire clearly for 20 or 30 seconds, when you really dwell in that mental picture, you begin to pick up the broadcast more clearly. The signal becomes stronger. But seeing alone will not bring it into your world. You must move to the second stage. And this is where the real transformation begins. The longer you tune into the station of your desire, the more clearly you begin to hear the program. And in consciousness, hearing the program means feeling what it would be like to already have your desire fulfilled. This is the crucial point that separates those who manifest their desires from those who merely daydream about them. Listen to me carefully. You can see your desire accomplished in imagination all day long, but if you don't feel the reality of it, you are merely entertaining yourself with pleasant pictures. The feeling is what gives life to the vision. The feeling is what makes it real in consciousness. A young man once came to me seeking financial abundance. He said, "Mr. Goddard, I imagine being wealthy every day. I see myself with money. I see myself in expensive clothes. I see myself in a beautiful car, but nothing happens. Why?" I asked him, "When you see yourself with these things, how do you feel?" He thought for a moment. "Well, I feel hopeful that someday I might have them." There's your problem, I told him. You're not feeling wealthy. You're feeling hopeful. Hope is the feeling of someone who doesn't have something but wishes they did. You're broadcasting on the frequency of I don't have it, but I hope to get it. And the universe is responding by giving you more hoping and waiting. I taught him to feel as though he already possessed great wealth, to feel grateful for the money he already had in consciousness, to feel the satisfaction, the security, the joy of being abundantly provided for. Within 6 months, he received an unexpected inheritance that made him financially independent for life. When you begin to feel your desire as already accomplished, you are no longer merely watching the moving picture of your fulfilled life. You are stepping into that picture. You are becoming the person in that scene. What would it feel like to wake up tomorrow already having what you desire? What would it feel like to move through your day as the person who already possesses this thing? How would you feel about yourself? How would you feel about your life? If you desire health, feel the vitality coursing through your body. Feel the strength in your muscles, the clarity in your mind, the energy in your step. Don't feel like someone who is sick hoping to get well. Feel like someone who is vibrantly, gloriously healthy. If you desire love, feel the warmth of being cherished, the security of being wanted, the joy of sharing your life with someone who adores you. Don't feel lonely hoping for love. Feel loved, completely and unconditionally. If you desire success, feel the satisfaction of achievement, the confidence of capability, the pride of accomplishment. Don't feel like a failure hoping for success. Feel successful, valuable, important. This feeling, this is the secret that unlocks every door in the mansion of manifestation. This feeling is what changes you from the person who wants into the person who has. When you feel as though your desire is already fulfilled, you have tuned into that station so clearly that you are now broadcasting on the same frequency. Now listen to me carefully. Once you begin to feel the reality of your fulfilled desire, you must not under any circumstances tune back to the station of your present conditions. Do not look at your bank account. Do not examine your present circumstances. Do not ask, where is it? Why hasn't it appeared yet? When you do this, you are changing the station back to your old reality. You are tuning away from the answer and back to the problem. Instead, you must luxuriate in this feeling. You must wallow in the joy of already having what you desire. Feel grateful for it. Feel satisfied by it. Feel as though your prayer has already been answered. Carry this feeling with you as you go about your day. Let it color every thought, every action, every response. Become so familiar with this feeling that it becomes more real to you than your present circumstances. And then, my friend, something miraculous begins to happen. When you can truly feel your desire as already fulfilled, you naturally begin to be the person who has that thing. You begin to think as that person thinks, to act as that person acts, to respond as that person responds. This is the final stage, being it. Scripture tells us, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This is that transformation. You are no longer the person who wants, you have become the person who has. When you are truly being your fulfilled desire, your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match this new state of consciousness. You are now broadcasting on a different frequency, and the universe must respond to the station you are transmitting. It's a law as reliable as gravity. The state you embody in consciousness must manifest in your world of experience. You begin to act like a wealthy person before the wealth appears in your bank account. Not by spending money you don't have, but by carrying yourself with the dignity of someone who knows they are provided for. You speak with the confidence of someone who has financial security. You make decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack. You carry yourself like a loved person before love manifests in your world. You treat yourself with the kindness you would show to someone precious. You speak about yourself the way someone who is cherished would speak. You expect good things to happen to you, because that's what happens to people who are beloved. You walk like a successful person before the success becomes obvious to others. You hold your head high with the bearing of someone who knows their worth. You approach challenges with the confidence of someone who expects to overcome them. You speak with the authority of someone who has something valuable to offer. This is not pretense. This is not acting as if This is not fake it till you make it. This is you literally becoming the person who already possesses your desire in consciousness. The person you are being is not a role you are playing. It is who you actually are in the reality where your desire is fulfilled. You are simply choosing to tune into that version of yourself and remain faithful to that frequency. And because consciousness is the only reality, because all things exist first in imagination before they appear in the world of form, your physical world must reshape itself to conform to this new state of being. It has no choice. The physical world is simply consciousness made visible. Change your consciousness, and your world must change. My friends, what I am giving you tonight is not merely a technique, it is the sacred art of assumption. You must learn to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and then persist in that assumption, regardless of what your senses tell you. Jesus said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Notice the tense. Believe that you have received it, not believe that you will receive it. This is the technique I am teaching you. Assume it is already yours. Feel it as already accomplished. Be it as already realized. I have watched this transform thousands of lives. The woman who assumed she was a successful actress and felt the thrill of standing ovations night after night in her imagination. She is now starring on Broadway. The man who assumed he was a published author and felt the satisfaction of holding his book in his hands. His novel is now being read by millions. The couple who assumed they owned their dream home and felt the joy of living in it every night before sleep, they now have the keys to that very house. What made the difference? They didn't wait for evidence in their physical world. They didn't look for proof that it was working. They simply remained faithful to the feeling of their wish fulfilled. They understood that consciousness is the only reality, and everything else is just consciousness expressing itself in form. Now, let me give you the exact technique. Choose something you desire, something that would make you genuinely happy, something that excites you when you think about it. It doesn't matter if it seems impossible. It doesn't matter if you can't see how it could happen. All that matters is that it would bring you joy to have it. Step 1. See it. Find the station. Close your eyes and construct a scene that would naturally occur if your desire were already fulfilled. Don't imagine yourself getting the thing. Imagine yourself already having it. If you desire a new job, don't imagine the interview. Imagine yourself already working at that job, enjoying the work, receiving congratulations from colleagues on your excellent performance. If you desire marriage, don't imagine meeting someone. Imagine yourself already married, perhaps putting on your wedding ring each morning, or having your spouse kiss you goodbye before work. If you desire health, don't imagine going to the doctor for a clean bill of health. Imagine yourself already healthy, perhaps running upstairs without getting winded, or looking in the mirror and loving what you see. Make this scene as vivid as a memory of something that actually happened to you. See the details. Notice the colors. Feel the textures. Hear the sounds. The more real you make it, the stronger the signal. Hold this picture steadily for at least 30 seconds. Don't let your mind wander to problems or present circumstances. Stay focused on this beautiful scene of fulfillment. Step 2. Feel it. Hear the program broadcasting. Now step into that scene. Don't just watch it. Be in it. Feel what it would feel like to be there, to have this desire fulfilled. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the gratitude, the naturalness of already having what you want. Let this feeling fill your entire being until it becomes more real than your present circumstances. If you're imagining success, feel successful. Feel proud, accomplished, valuable, important. If you're imagining love, feel cherished, wanted, appreciated, adored. If you're imagining abundance, feel abundant, feel secure, provided for, generous, free. Don't just think these feelings, experience them as though they are happening right now. Step 3. Become it. Broadcast on the new frequency. From this feeling state, live as though this is your reality. When you open your eyes, carry this feeling with you. Don't drop it and return to your old state. Respond to your world as the person who already has this thing. Think the thoughts such a person would think. Make the decisions such a person would make. Carry yourself the way such a person would carry themselves. Do not look for immediate proof in your physical world. Do not check your circumstances to see if it's working. This is like tuning into a beautiful music program and then immediately changing the station to static to see if the music is still there. Trust the process. Remain faithful to the feeling of your fulfilled desire, regardless of what your senses tell you. My friends, here is where your faith will be tested. Here is where the sheep are separated from the goats, where those who truly understand this teaching are distinguished from those who merely play with it. Your old circumstances will persist for a time. Your bank account will still show the same balance. Your relationship status will appear unchanged. Your health may seem no different. This is the critical moment. This is when most people abandon the process and return to their old state of consciousness. But you must persist. You must remain faithful to your new state, regardless of what your senses report. Remember, your senses can only report what has already been created by your previous states of consciousness. The external world is always the last to conform to your change of consciousness. First you change within, then the world reflects that change without. Abraham hoped against hope and called those things which be not as though they were. This is your example. You must call your desire accomplished, even when your senses deny it. I remember a woman who desired to heal from a serious illness. She faithfully practiced this technique, seeing herself healthy, feeling vibrant and strong, being the picture of perfect health. For weeks, her symptoms remained. Her doctors saw no improvement. Her family worried that she was deluding herself, but she persisted. Every night she fell asleep, feeling grateful for her perfect health. Every morning, she awoke expecting to feel wonderful. Every day she carried herself as a healthy person would. Then one morning, she woke up completely healed. Every symptom was gone. Her doctors called it a miracle. It was no miracle, it was the natural result of remaining faithful to her desired state of consciousness. When you truly understand this teaching, when you really grasp that consciousness is the only reality, and that imagination creates the world, you will never again feel helpless or hopeless. You will know that no matter what your present circumstances, you have the power to tune into any reality you desire. You have access to every station in God's infinite broadcasting system. Poverty is just a station you can tune away from. Loneliness is just a frequency you can change. Sickness is just a program you can turn off. Failure is just a broadcast you can stop listening to. Every state you desire is available to you right now. Wealth is broadcasting its abundance. Love is transmitting its warmth. Health is radiating its vitality. Success is sharing its triumph. All you have to do is tune in and remain faithful to the frequency. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. The asking is the imagining. The seeking is the feeling. The knocking is the being. When you see it, feel it, and be it, you have asked, sought, and knocked. The universe must respond. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to practice this divine art. Choose one desire, just one, and apply this technique for at least 10 minutes. Don't rush through it. Take your time to construct a beautiful scene of fulfillment. Really see yourself in that scene. Feel what it would be like to be there. Then carry that feeling into sleep. Do this for 7 consecutive nights. Don't look for results. Don't check your progress. Don't ask when it will happen. Simply remain faithful to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. If doubts arise, dismiss them. If circumstances seem to contradict your imagining, ignore them. If people tell you you're being unrealistic, smile and continue with your practice. Within days, you will begin to notice changes, small at first perhaps, but unmistakable. Your actions will change because your state has changed. Opportunities will appear because you are now broadcasting on a different frequency. People will respond to you differently because you are now being a different person. When these changes begin to appear, and they will, simply accept them as natural consequences of your new state of being. Don't be surprised. Don't think it's coincidence. Know that consciousness is the only reality, and you have simply tuned into a different station. Each time you notice evidence of your changing reality, let it increase your faith. Let it strengthen your conviction in this divine power. Let it encourage you to persist in your practice. But don't become dependent on the evidence. The evidence is wonderful, but it's not necessary for your faith. Your faith should rest on the truth that consciousness creates reality, not on whether you can see immediate proof. Before I send you forth to practice this divine art, let me give you 3 sacred rules that will determine your success or failure. Rule 1. Never mix your states. Do not imagine being wealthy in the morning and then spend the afternoon complaining about being poor. Do not feel love during your meditation and then spend the evening feeling lonely. Choose your state and remain faithful to it throughout the day. Rule 2. Ignore contrary evidence. When your senses report something that contradicts your imagined reality, give no attention to the report. Your senses can only tell you about the past. Your imagination is creating the future. Rule 3. Persist until it hardens into fact. Don't abandon your desired state when it doesn't manifest immediately. Consciousness is the only reality, but it takes time for that reality to harden into physical fact. Persist in your assumption until it becomes your natural state. The greatest secret I can share with you, greater than any treasure, more valuable than any earthly possession, is this. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not at the mercy of the world around you. You are not subject to the whims of fate or the accidents of birth. You are the operant power in your own experience. You are the author of your own story. You are the artist painting on the canvas of your life. Your imagination is not a faculty for entertainment. It is not a way to pass time or escape reality. Your imagination is the very creative power of God within you. It is the workshop where all things are made. It is the studio where your life is designed. Every time you imagine lovingly, every time you see and feel and become your heart's desire, you are wielding the same power that spoke the universe into existence. Genesis tells us that man was made in the image of God. What is the image of God? The power to create through imagination and word. And God said, "Let there be," and there was. When you say, "Let there be love in my life," and imagine it with feeling, you are using that same creative power. When you say, "Let there be abundance in my experience," and feel the reality of it, you are speaking with the voice of God. You don't have to wait for permission from anyone. You don't have to earn your desires through suffering or struggle. You don't have to prove yourself worthy to some external authority. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and your imagination is the key to every door in that kingdom. Every state you desire is yours for the claiming. Every dream you hold is yours for the living. You are not here to live a life of quiet desperation. You are not here to settle for less than your heart's desire. You are here to discover the divine power within you and use it to create a life of joy, abundance, love, and fulfillment. The only question is, what station will you tune into tonight? Go now and practice this divine art. See it, feel it, be it. Make your imagination your best friend and most trusted advisor. Let it show you possibilities you never dreamed were available to you. Remember, your future is not something that happens to you. It is something you tune into with your divine imagination. May you never again doubt your power to create your reality. May you never again accept less than your heart's desire. May you always remember that consciousness is the only reality, and you are the master of your consciousness. Go in peace. Go in power. Go in the absolute certainty that you are the operant power in your own experience. The world is waiting to see what you will choose to create. Listen closely, because what I'm about to share will shift everything you thought you knew about your life, your purpose, and the extraordinary power that lies dormant within you. You've felt it, haven't you? That restless energy coursing through your veins, whispering that you're meant for something more. Those moments when you stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., knowing deep in your bones that mediocrity was never your destiny. That gnawing sensation that you're living beneath your potential, that there's a version of yourself waiting to emerge. Powerful, radiant, unstoppable. Today that waiting ends. The struggles you've endured, weren't random acts of cruelty. They were the universe's way of forging you in fire, tempering your spirit like steel. Every rejection taught you resilience. Every failure planted seeds of wisdom. Every tear you shed watered the ground where your greatest victories would eventually bloom. You survived what was meant to break you. You found light in the darkest tunnels. You kept breathing when the air felt thin. You held on when letting go seemed easier. You stood up when the world pushed you down. This isn't luck. This is proof of the extraordinary force that animates your very existence. Think about it. The odds of you being here, in this moment, with this exact combination of experiences, talents, and dreams, are astronomical. You are the product of billions of years of evolution, countless generations of survivors, and a perfect storm of circumstances that will never be replicated. You are not an accident. You are not a coincidence. You are not expendable. Somewhere along the way, you bought into the greatest con job in human history. They convinced you that you're ordinary. They sold you the lie that dreams are for other people, that greatness is reserved for the lucky few, that you should be grateful for scraps from someone else's table. They taught you to color inside the lines, to keep your voice down, to not make waves. They trained you to seek approval, to follow rules that were never designed for your benefit, to trade your authenticity for acceptance. They programmed you to believe that success is about playing it safe, that wealth is evil, that asking for more makes you greedy, that standing out makes you selfish. They convinced you that your dreams are too big, your vision too bold, your ambitions too unrealistic. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every single one of these beliefs is a carefully constructed prison, designed to keep you small, manageable, and profitable for someone else's agenda. The educational system that taught you to memorize instead of create. The corporate ladder that promises security in exchange for your soul. The social media algorithms that feed you other people's highlight reels, while you compare them to your behind-the-scenes struggles. The news cycle that floods your mind with fear, scarcity, and division. All of it designed to make you forget the fundamental truth. You are a force of nature temporarily wearing human clothes. Here's what the world doesn't want you to realize. You are not a passive observer of your life. You are the author, the director, the starring role, and the closing credits, all rolled into one magnificent force of nature. Every morning when you wake up, you're not just starting another day. You're launching another campaign in the war for your dreams. Every decision you make is either building the bridge to your destiny or tearing it down brick by brick. Every word you speak is either casting a spell of possibility or cursing yourself with limitation. The time for playing small is over. The season of doubting yourself has expired. The era of waiting for permission, for the perfect moment, for someone else to validate your worth. It ends here. It ends now. It ends with you. But revolution isn't just about tearing down the old. It's about building something magnificent in its place. It's about becoming the architect of a life so extraordinary that it serves as a blueprint for others who dare to dream. Your revolution starts with a simple but radical shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" start asking, "What if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams?" Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, become obsessed with what could go right. Instead of preparing for the worst-case scenario, start planning for the best-case reality. Let me share something most people don't understand about change. Your brain is not fixed. Your personality is not permanent. Your limitations are not set in stone. Modern neuroscience has proven that your mind is plastic, moldable, constantly rewiring itself based on what you feed it. Every thought you think creates neural pathways. Every action you take strengthens certain connections and weakens others. Every habit you form literally reshapes the physical structure of your brain. This means that the person you are today is not the person you have to be tomorrow. The patterns that have defined your life are not permanent. The stories you tell yourself about what's possible can be completely rewritten. But here's the crucial part. Transformation requires more than just wanting to change. It requires you to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It requires you to embrace the messy, chaotic, sometimes painful process of becoming. The caterpillar doesn't just sprout wings. It dissolves completely, becomes literal soup, and then reassembles itself into something entirely new. Your transformation will require a similar level of complete surrender to the process. Society wants you to believe that extraordinary lives are reserved for the lucky few, the genetically gifted, the well-connected. They want you to accept that dreams are for children and that adults must settle for realistic expectations. They want you to trade your fire for security, your passion for predictability, your voice for conformity. But you weren't born to be part of the chorus. You were born to be the song. Your rebellion against ordinary begins with a single radical act, deciding that you deserve everything you've ever dreamed of, not hoping for it, not wishing for it, not praying for it, deciding it with the unwavering certainty of gravity itself. This isn't about positive thinking or manifesting or any other diluted version of personal power. This is about recognizing that you are not separate from the force that spins planets and ignites stars. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are a creator of worlds. Your rebellion takes many forms. It's refusing to apologize for your ambitions. It's walking away from toxic relationships, even when they're familiar. It's investing in yourself when others call it selfish. It's speaking your truth when others prefer your silence. It's waking up before dawn to work on your dreams while the world sleeps. It's saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It's betting on yourself when the odds look impossible. Your rebellion is choosing growth over comfort, impact over approval, authenticity over acceptance. It's deciding that you'd rather fail at something meaningful than succeed at something meaningless. Let's be honest about something. The path you're choosing isn't easy. Greatness has a price, and not everyone is willing to pay it. You'll face criticism from people who are threatened by your growth. You'll encounter setbacks that test your resolve. You'll have moments of doubt where giving up seems like the rational choice. You'll walk through valleys of uncertainty where the only light is the fire burning inside you. You'll lose friends who can't handle your evolution. You'll outgrow environments that once felt like home. You'll have to become comfortable with being misunderstood by people who are still living in the reality you're leaving behind. Some nights, you'll lie awake wondering if you're crazy for believing in dreams that others call impossible. Some days, you'll question whether the struggle is worth it. Some moments, you'll feel more alone than you ever thought possible. But here's what makes the price worth paying. On the other side of that struggle is a version of yourself so powerful, so radiant, so authentically you, that every moment of doubt becomes worth it. On the other side is a life so extraordinary that it makes all the pain of transformation feel like a small price for infinite possibility. The people who change the world aren't the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who transform it into fuel for their fire. Right now, in this moment, something is shifting inside you. Can you feel it? It's the moment when a caterpillar realizes it was never meant to crawl. It's the instant when a seed understands that breaking open isn't death, it's birth. Your transformation won't be comfortable. Revolutionary change never is. You'll have to shed skins that no longer fit, even when they feel familiar. You'll have to walk away from people, places, and patterns that keep you small, even when letting go feels like dying. You'll have to bet everything on yourself when the odds look impossible. But here's the secret. They don't teach you in school, in church, or in the cubicle. Impossible is just another word for untested. Every miracle in human history was impossible until someone decided to make it reality. The Wright brothers were told humans would never fly. Einstein's teachers said he would never amount to anything. Oprah was born into poverty and told she was unfit for television news. Steve Jobs was a college dropout. J.K. Rowling was a single mother on welfare. What transformed them wasn't the absence of obstacles. It was the presence of an unshakable belief in their own potential. What set them apart wasn't luck or privilege. It was the willingness to persist when persistence seemed pointless. You carry that same potential. You have access to that same unshakable belief. The only difference between you and them is that they decided to act on it. Dreams without action are just fantasies. But dreams with action become the blueprints for reality. The question isn't whether your dreams are possible. The question is whether you're willing to become the person capable of achieving them. Every dream requires a death and a birth. the death of who you used to be, and the birth of who you're becoming, the death of old limitations, and the birth of new possibilities, the death of playing it safe, and the birth of living boldly. Your dreams aren't asking you to be perfect. They're asking you to be committed. They're not asking you to have all the answers. They're asking you to be willing to figure it out as you go. They're not asking you to eliminate all fear. They're asking you to act in spite of it. Look at your biggest dream right now, not the watered down, realistic version. The one that makes your heart race and your palms sweat. The one that feels so big it scares you. That's not a dream. That's a calling. That calling isn't there by accident. It's there because you have everything needed to fulfill it. Not someday when you're more qualified. Not later when you feel ready. Not eventually when the timing is perfect. Right now, with exactly what you have, exactly where you are. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission. The only approval you need is your own. Your dreams aren't too big. Your vision isn't unrealistic. Your goals aren't impossible. You've just been thinking too small about who you really are. You are the descendant of survivors, the heir of warriors, the child of the same cosmic force that carved mountains and filled oceans. You carry the DNA of every ancestor who refused to give up, who fought against the odds, who chose hope over despair. Their strength flows in your veins. Their courage beats in your heart. Their dreams live in your spirit. You are not just you. You are the culmination of 1,000 generations of triumph. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you honor their sacrifice. Every time you pursue your dreams despite the odds, you validate their struggle. Every time you refuse to give up, you prove that their fight was worth it. You don't just carry their legacy. You are their wildest dream made manifest. Living an extraordinary life requires adopting the mindset of a warrior, not a warrior of violence, but a warrior of vision, a warrior of purpose, a warrior of relentless, uncompromising commitment to becoming everything you were born to be. A warrior doesn't fight because they hate what's in front of them. They fight because they love what's behind them. You're not fighting against your current reality because you hate it. You're fighting for your dream reality because you love what's possible. A warrior understands that defeat is not falling down. Defeat is staying down. Every setback is just another opportunity to demonstrate your resilience. Every no is just redirection toward a better yes. Every closed door is just the universe's way of guiding you toward the one that's meant to open. A warrior trains daily, not just when they feel motivated. They show up when it's raining, when it's cold, when they're tired, when they'd rather be doing anything else. Because they understand that discipline is just choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Your training ground is your daily life. Every conversation is practice for leadership. Every challenge is preparation for your next level. Every small victory is building the confidence you'll need for bigger battles. Success isn't random. It's not luck. It's not about who you know or where you went to school. Success is mathematics. It's the compound effect of small, consistent actions taken over time. Every day you choose to work on yourself instead of watching Netflix, you make a deposit in your success account. Every time you invest in learning something new, you increase your value in the marketplace. Every moment you spend visualizing your goals, you're programming your subconscious mind for achievement. But here's where most people get it wrong. They expect linear results from exponential processes. They plant a seed and expect a tree the next day. They work out once and expect abs. They read one book and expect wisdom. Success is more like a bamboo tree. For 5 years, it appears to do nothing, growing only underground, developing its root system. Then in the 6th year, it grows 90 feet in 6 months. Your efforts right now might feel invisible. Your progress might seem non-existent, but underneath the surface, everything is happening. Your roots are growing deeper. Your foundation is becoming stronger. Your breakthrough is building momentum. The universe is conspiring in your favor, even when it doesn't feel that way. Especially when it doesn't feel that way. You become who you spend time with. Your network is your net worth. Your associations determine your destinations. The 5 people you interact with most will determine the trajectory of your life more than any other factor. Look around you right now. Are you surrounded by dreamers or doubters, builders or critics, people who inspire you to reach higher, or people who make excuses for why reaching higher is impossible? This isn't about abandoning everyone in your life who isn't successful by traditional standards. This is about consciously choosing to spend more time with people who challenge you, inspire you, and believe in possibilities rather than limitations. Find mentors who have what you want. Seek out peers who are playing at your next level. Surround yourself with people who see your potential even when you can't see it yourself. Distance yourself from energy vampires, dream killers, and professional victims. Not because you don't care about them, but because you can't save anyone from a sinking ship if you're drowning too. Your environment shapes your mindset more than you realize. If you want to think like a millionaire, spend time around millionaires. If you want to think like an entrepreneur, surround yourself with entrepreneurs. If you want to think like someone living their dream, find people who are already doing it. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to stop apologizing for your ambitions. You're going to stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You're going to stop asking for permission to become who you were born to be. You're going to wake up every morning like you're entering a boxing ring, ready to fight for your dreams with the ferocity of someone whose life depends on it, because it does. You're going to treat every setback like a setup for a comeback. You're going to turn every no into fuel for your fire. When people tell you it's impossible, you'll smile and say, "Watch me." When they say you're crazy, you'll thank them for noticing. When they say you've changed, you'll say, "That was the whole point." You're going to become obsessed with your personal development. You'll read books that challenge your thinking. You'll listen to podcasts that expand your mindset. You'll attend seminars that stretch your possibilities. You'll hire coaches who see your potential. You're going to start before you're ready, because ready is a luxury you can't afford, and a feeling that never comes. You're going to fail faster so you can learn quicker. You're going to iterate rapidly, instead of perfecting slowly. You're going to develop the discipline of a monk and the audacity of a pirate. You'll be ruthlessly committed to your vision while remaining flexible with your methods. You'll hold your goals with an iron grip while holding your strategies with an open hand. Your mind is the most sophisticated technology ever created. It can process millions of bits of information per second. It can solve problems while you sleep. It can create realities that have never existed before. But like any technology, it's only as powerful as the operator. Most people are using their mental technology like a calculator when it's actually a supercomputer. They're thinking in limitations when they have access to infinite possibilities. Your thoughts are not just random electrical impulses. They're instructions to the universe about what you want to experience. Your beliefs are not just opinions. They're the filter through which you perceive reality. Your words are not just sounds. They're spells that create the world around you. Start programming your mind deliberately. Feed it stories of success instead of stories of struggle. Give it images of achievement instead of images of failure. Provide it with evidence of what's possible instead of evidence of what's impossible. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, will find whatever you tell it to look for. Tell it to look for opportunities, and suddenly you'll see them everywhere. Tell it to look for reasons why you can't succeed, and it will provide plenty of evidence to support that belief. You have the power to reprogram your mental software. The question is, what reality are you coding for? Small incremental changes will give you small incremental results. If you want extraordinary results, you need to make quantum leaps. You need to think in terms of multiplication, not addition. A quantum leap isn't about working harder. It's about thinking differently. It's about changing your identity, not just your actions. It's about becoming the type of person who naturally attracts the results you want. Instead of trying to earn more money, become the type of person who provides massive value. Instead of trying to find love, become the type of person who is irresistibly attractive. Instead of trying to get healthy, become the type of person who naturally makes healthy choices. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. It doesn't give you what you think you deserve. It gives you what you believe you are worth. It doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your identity. Who you are being determines what you are getting. Change who you're being, and you'll change what you're getting. This is the secret of instant transformation. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, because ready is a luxury you can't afford, and a feeling that never comes. This is your I have a dream speech waiting to be born. This is your chance to step out of the audience and onto the stage of your own life. The world is waiting for what you have to offer. Not a perfect version of you, not a future version of you, not a more qualified version of you, the you that exists right here, right now, with all your scars and all your fire. You are not an accident. You are not a coincidence. You are not a mistake. You are a walking, breathing miracle with a purpose so powerful that the universe conspired to bring you into existence at exactly this moment in history. Your combination of talents, experiences, perspectives, and dreams has never existed before and will never exist again. You are literally irreplaceable. The impact you're meant to make can only be made by you. The problems you're meant to solve can only be solved by you. The people you're meant to serve can only be served by you. The legacy you're meant to leave can only be left by you. Your transformation isn't just about you. Every person who breaks free from limitation gives others permission to do the same. Every individual who lives their truth makes it easier for others to live theirs. Every dreamer who makes their dreams reality expands what's possible for all of us. You have children, friends, family members, colleagues, and even strangers watching you. They may never tell you, but your choices are influencing their choices. Your courage is building their courage. Your success is expanding their sense of what's possible. When you choose growth over comfort, you give others permission to do the same. When you pursue your dreams despite the odds, you show others that it's possible. When you refuse to settle for mediocrity, you raise the standard for everyone around you. Your life is not just your own. It's a gift to the world. The person you become, the things you create, the problems you solve, the love you share, it all matters more than you know. Don't rob the world of your magnificence by playing small. Don't deprive humanity of your unique contribution by hiding your light. Don't deny future generations the inspiration of your story by choosing comfort over courage. Stop waiting and start becoming. Stop planning and start doing. Your extraordinary life isn't a destination you'll arrive at someday. It's a decision you make right now, in this moment, to refuse anything less than the magnificent existence you were born to live. The fire inside you isn't there to keep you warm. It's there to light up the world. The power within you isn't meant to be hidden. It's meant to move mountains. The voice inside you isn't there to whisper. It's there to roar. Your awakening isn't coming. It's here. Your time isn't someday. It's now. Your moment isn't in the future. It's this one. Every great journey begins with a single step. Every magnificent dream starts with a decision. Every extraordinary life begins with someone saying, no more. Today I choose differently. Today I begin. This is that day. This is that decision. This is that beginning. The caterpillar's time is over. The butterfly's time has come. Rise up. Stand tall. Claim your power. Spread your wings. Take flight. The world needs who you're about to become. Your revolution starts now.
Good evening, my friends. Tonight I want to speak to you about the most powerful force in the universe, a force you possess right now, a force you're using every moment, whether you realize it or not, your attention, your focus, your awareness. This is not just mental activity. This is God in action. Because God is consciousness, and wherever consciousness focuses, creation follows. Listen carefully. Everything you experience in your life, every single thing, is a direct reflection of where your attention has been dwelling. Not where you hoped it would dwell, not where you wished it would go, but where it actually rested, day after day, thought after thought. Your life right now is a perfect mirror of your habitual focus. Look around you. Your relationships, your finances, your health, your emotional state, All of it is the harvest of what you have been mentally feeding. And if you don't like what you're harvesting, you must stop watering those seeds. Because attention is not passive. Attention is creative fire. Let me tell you something. Most people never understand you are not reacting to the world. The world is reacting to you. You think you're a victim of circumstances. You think life is happening to you. You think you're at the mercy of conditions, people, economy, fate. But I tell you, life is not happening to you. Life is responding to you. Every experience, every event, every person you encounter is a reflection of your dominant inner focus. Not sometimes, always. Without exception, your attention is the creative power that shapes worlds. Every time you think about something, you feed it energy. Every time you dwell on an idea, you give it life. Every time you return your mind to a thought, you water that seed, and whatever you water grows. You might not see the results instantly. Seeds don't sprout the moment you plant them. But make no mistake, what you're focusing on right now is growing beneath the surface of your awareness, preparing to break through into your visible world. This is why the quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. Most people live with scattered attention. Their mind jumps from worry to desire, from fear to hope, from what they want to what they dread, and they wonder why their life feels chaotic, unstable, unpredictable. But the person who learns to steady their attention, to direct it deliberately toward a single vision, and hold it there, that person becomes a master of destiny. Here's what you must understand. The inner world always precedes the outer world. Always. You cannot change your circumstances by fighting with them. You cannot change your life by battling with conditions. You can only change your life by changing your inner focus. Your outer world is a screen. Your inner world is the projector. The images on the screen, your circumstances are simply projections of the film inside the projector. If you don't like what's playing on the screen, you don't attack the screen. You don't fight with the images. You change the film. You change what's running inside the projector. Your consciousness, your attention, your habitual focus. This is the secret. You are the projector, not the screen. Most people have this backwards. They try to change the screen while leaving the projector untouched. They fight with their circumstances while their inner focus remains fixed on lack, limitation, fear. And they wonder why nothing changes. But when you change the film, when you shift your attention from what you don't want to what you do want, the screen must change. It has no choice, because the outer world is only a reflection of the inner. Let me show you how this works in your daily life. Suppose you're struggling financially. Your natural reaction is to think constantly about how little you have, how expensive everything is, how unfair life feels, how you'll never get ahead. Every one of those thoughts is an investment of attention into the consciousness of lack. The more you notice lack, the more you feel it. The more you feel it, the more you attract situations that confirm it. You are unknowingly feeding the very condition you want to escape. You are watering weeds and wondering why flowers don't bloom. Now imagine instead that you deliberately shift your focus, not by denying your current circumstances, but by refusing to give them your creative attention. You begin to notice signs of provision. However small, the roof over your head, the meal you're eating, the opportunities available to you. You imagine financial ease. You feel gratitude for what you have. You dwell in the consciousness of abundance, and you hold that focus steady. What happens? New ideas begin to come. Opportunities appear. Synchronicities unfold. The path opens. Nothing mystical occurred. Your attention simply started flowing in a new direction. You stopped feeding the consciousness of lack and started feeding the consciousness of abundance. And abundance consciousness creates abundant conditions. This is law. Your attention is a magnet that draws to you whatever matches its vibration. You cannot focus on problems and attract solutions. You cannot dwell on lack and attract abundance. You cannot feed thoughts of loneliness and attract love. The universe doesn't understand "I don't want this." It only responds to the feeling you radiate, the consciousness you occupy, the attention you give. When you say "I don't want to be poor," you are still focusing on poverty. You're still giving attention to lack. You're still feeding that consciousness with your mental energy. And what you feed grows. This is why resistance doesn't work. When you resist something, you make it real to yourself. Resistance says "this thing has power over me." Resistance is still attention. The truly powerful person doesn't resist. They redirect. They calmly withdraw attention from what they don't want and place it entirely on what they do want. They stop watering weeds and start watering flowers. And the weeds, deprived of attention, wither and die. Most people waste their creative power by worrying. They believe that by worrying they're somehow preparing for disaster, protecting themselves from harm, being realistic. But worry is not preparation. Worry is creation. Every time you worry about something, you are impressing that image on your subconscious mind. You are telling your creative power, "This is what I expect. Bring me this." And because expectation is magnetic, because consciousness creates reality, your worry manifests. Not because worry is powerful, but because attention is powerful. And worry is focused attention on an unwanted outcome. You are creating what you fear by giving it your mental energy. Stop it. If you must think about the future, think about it going well. Imagine success. Feel the relief of things working out. Dwell in the consciousness of triumph, not tragedy. Because whatever consciousness you dwell in, you impress upon your subconscious. And your subconscious, your father, the creative power within you, brings forth conditions that match that impression. So how do you master this? How do you take control of your attention and use it to create the life you desire? First, become aware of where your attention goes when your mind is idle. Most people never notice. Their thoughts drift automatically to worry, doubt, regret, fear, and they wonder why their life reflects those states. But you must become conscious. When your mind is idle, where does it go? Do you drift into lack or into abundance, into fear or into faith, into problems or into possibilities? Catch yourself. Notice the drift and gently redirect. This is not about forcing thoughts. This is about choosing them deliberately, the way you choose what clothes to wear. You wouldn't put on dirty, torn clothing and then wonder why people treat you poorly. Yet you put on dirty, fearful thoughts and wonder why life treats you harshly. Choose your thoughts like you choose your clothes. Deliberately, consciously, with intention. Second, refuse to give attention to what weakens you. Every complaint is attention given to what you dislike. Every criticism is energy fed to negativity. Every replay of a painful memory is watering an old wound. Stop doing this. You don't have to fight these thoughts. You don't have to suppress them. You simply redirect. When a worried thought comes, acknowledge it. There's worry, and then choose a different focus. But I am choosing to dwell in peace. When a lack thought surfaces, notice it. There's lack consciousness, and then redirect. But I am dwelling in abundance. This is mastery. Not fighting your thoughts, but directing them. Third, make the shift from resisting what you don't want to focusing on what you do want. Stop fighting against conditions. Stop complaining about circumstances. Stop dwelling on what's wrong. Instead, turn your full attention to the vision of what you desire. See it. Feel it. Dwell in it as though it's already accomplished. This is not pretending. This is impressing. You are impressing your subconscious with the image of your desired reality. And your subconscious, receiving that impression, begins to create conditions that match it. The outer world must follow the inner, always. Now let me take you deeper into the practice of creation through attention. The secret is to feel the desired state as already real. Not "I will feel successful when I succeed," but "I feel successful now." Not "I'll feel loved when someone loves me," but "I feel loved now." Not "I'll feel abundant when I have money," but "I feel abundant now." The feeling must come first. Always, because feeling is the language of creation. Thoughts alone don't create. Affirmations without feeling are empty words. But when you feel something deeply, when you dwell in the emotional atmosphere of your desire fulfilled, you impress that pattern on your subconscious, and your subconscious goes to work making it real. Your body cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself already living your desired life, seeing the details, hearing the sounds, and most importantly, feeling the emotions, you generate the same energetic signature as the reality you seek, and your subconscious accepts it as real. This is why feeling is the secret, not visualization alone, not affirmation alone, but feeling. When you feel wealthy, you impress wealth consciousness on your subconscious. When you feel loved, you impress love consciousness. When you feel successful, you impress success consciousness. And consciousness creates conditions. So starting tonight, practice this, close your eyes, forget your current circumstances, and truly feel what it would be like if your desire were already fulfilled. Not what you would do with it, not what it would look like, but how you would feel being the person who already has it. Feel the relief, the joy, the peace, the certainty. Dwell in that feeling until it becomes natural, until it feels more real than your current circumstances. Because the moment that feeling becomes more real to you than your outer conditions must change to match it. This is law. What you're doing when you feel your desire as already real is making an assumption. You're assuming the wish is fulfilled. You're assuming you already are what you want to be. You're assuming the end is accomplished. An assumption, if persisted in, hardens into fact. This is the principle I've been teaching for decades. You don't become what you want, you become what you assume yourself to be. If you assume you're poor, you remain poor, no matter how hard you work. If you assume you're rich, you become rich, even if your current bank account is empty. Because assumption creates reality. Your subconscious doesn't question your assumptions. It simply accepts them and creates conditions that match. If you persistently assume you're successful, your subconscious arranges circumstances, opportunities, and encounters that confirm your success. It must, because that's law. So the question is not, how do I get what I want? The question is, who am I assuming myself to be? If you assume yourself to be lacking, struggling, limited, that's what you'll experience. But if you assume yourself to be abundant, loved, successful, that becomes your reality. Not because you hoped for it, not because you worked for it, but because you assumed it. An assumption creates fact. Now, here's where most people fail. They make the assumption. They feel the wish fulfilled. They dwell in the desired state for a day, maybe a week. And then they look at their circumstances and see no change. Nothing has shifted. The bank account is still the same. The relationship is still absent. The success hasn't appeared, and they think it's not working. So they abandon the assumption and return to the old consciousness of lack, and they wonder why nothing manifests. Listen carefully. Appearances are old reflections of past thinking. What you're seeing right now in your outer world is the harvest of seeds you planted weeks, months, sometimes years ago through your past focus, your past assumptions, your past consciousness. The new seed you just planted, the new assumption you just made, hasn't sprouted yet, but it will, if you persist. The mistake most people make is judging by appearances. They let the outer world dictate their inner state. They see lack and feel lack. They see limitation and accept limitation. But the master does the opposite. The master feels abundance despite seeing lack. The master assumes success despite experiencing delay. The master dwells in the wish fulfilled even when all evidence contradicts it. Why? Because the master knows the inner world creates the outer, not the other way around. So when appearances contradict your assumption, hold your assumption more firmly. Feel it more deeply. Dwell in it more persistently. Do not let the outer world shake your inner conviction. Because the moment you abandon your assumption and return to the old consciousness, you uproot the seed before it can sprout. But if you persist, if you continue to assume the wish fulfilled despite all evidence to the contrary, the outer world must eventually conform. It has no choice. because it has no power of its own. It merely reflects what you are being within. When you truly master this principle, something profound happens. You stop asking for change. You stop begging life to give you what you want. You stop chasing, pursuing, striving. Instead, you embody. You shift your identity from the one who wants to the one who has, from the one who hopes to the one who knows, from the one who seeks to the one who possesses. You no longer wait for something to happen. You live as if it already has. And that shift in consciousness, that assumption of the wish fulfilled, is the creative act itself. When you sustain that feeling, when you persist in that assumption, life begins to rearrange itself around you. The right people appear. The right opportunities open. Even obstacles seem to dissolve. Not because you forced anything, but because you allowed everything by dwelling in the consciousness of fulfillment. You stopped resisting. You stopped fighting. You stopped waiting. You simply became. And the world, having no power to resist your assumption, yielded to it. Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to practice this principle. Forget everything I've said if you must. But remember this one thing, feel your wish fulfilled. Close your eyes, quiet your mind, and enter the feeling, the actual feeling of your desire being already accomplished. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, if you desire wealth, feel wealthy. Let that feeling fill your entire being. Don't visualize money. Feel the consciousness of abundance. Feel provided for. Feel free from financial worry. Feel rich. If you desire love, feel loved. Don't imagine a person. Feel the warmth, the security, the joy of being deeply loved and loving deeply in return. If you desire success, feel successful. Feel the quiet confidence of someone who has already achieved. Feel the relief of it being done. Dwell in that feeling. Saturate yourself with it. Let it become more real to you than your current circumstances. And fall asleep in that consciousness. Impress it on your subconscious as you drift into sleep. Let it be the last thing your conscious mind dwells on before surrendering to sleep. Because sleep is the door to the subconscious. And what you impress upon the subconscious in that drowsy state takes root powerfully. Tomorrow, wake as that person. The person who already has the desire. Don't check to see if it manifested. You already know it's yours in consciousness. And that's the only place it needs to be for now. Move through your day from that assumption. Think from it, speak from it, act from it. And persist in it, day after day. Until it becomes so natural that you forget you're assuming it. Until it becomes simply who you are. When you do this, when you truly shift your attention from lack to fulfillment, from wanting to having, from seeking to being, everything changes. Not because you manipulated the universe. Not because you got lucky. Not because circumstances suddenly shifted. But because you changed in consciousness. And changed consciousness creates changed conditions. Your focus is God. Your attention is creative power. Whatever you dwell on, you bring into being. So choose carefully where you place your focus. Choose deliberately what you give your attention to. Choose consciously what you assume yourself to be. Because that choice, that simple choice of where you rest your attention, determines your entire destiny. The world has no power over you. Circumstances have no power over you. People have no power over you. Only your attention has power. And you control your attention. You are the projector, not the screen. You are the creator, not the victim. You are consciousness itself, exploring its own infinite creative power through the focus of attention. So from this moment forward, refuse to give attention to what you don't want. Refuse to dwell on lack, limitation, fear. Instead, place your full attention on what you desire as though it's already accomplished. Feel it, assume it, become it in consciousness, and watch as your outer world, which has no choice but to follow your inner world, rearranges itself to match. This is law. This is truth. This is the secret of all creation. Your focus is God. Use it wisely. Everything you experience is a reflection of where your attention has been dwelling. You are not reacting to the world is reacting to you. Your attention is not passive mental activity. It is creative fire, God in action. Change your focus from what you don't want to what you do want. Feel it is already accomplished and persist in that assumption until the outer world conforms. This is Best of Lectures. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.
What I'm about to tell you will sound brutal, but it's the only way you'll ever escape the prison you've built around yourself. There's a version of you that must die today. Not physically, but mentally, spiritually, completely. And if you don't kill him first, he will kill every dream you've ever had. Stay with me, because by the end of this message, you'll understand why your biggest enemy isn't the world. It's the person you were yesterday. My friends, I want you to understand something that will change everything for you. The most dangerous lie you tell yourself is that gradual change will save you. That somehow, if you just improve by 1% each day, you'll magically transform into the person you're meant to be. But transformation isn't evolution. It's revolution. It's not a gentle unfolding. It's a violent overthrow of everything you've accepted as true about yourself. Right now, as you hear these words, there are two versions of you fighting for control. One is the person you've always been, comfortable with mediocrity, addicted to excuses, loyal to limitations. The other is who you're capable of becoming, powerful, focused, relentless in pursuit of your vision. These two cannot coexist. One must die for the other to live. Most people think they can negotiate with their old self. They believe they can gently coax themselves into greatness. I'll start tomorrow. I'll change gradually. I'll be more disciplined when I feel ready. This is the language of the defeated. This is how the weak version of you keeps you imprisoned in a cell of your own making. I have taught you that imagination creates reality. But whose imagination are you living from? The imagination of the person who scrolls through social media instead of building their empire. The imagination of the person who hits snooze instead of seizing the morning. Or the imagination of the person you're destined to become. Listen carefully to what I'm telling you. Your identity isn't who you are. It's who you've practiced being. Every time you've chosen comfort over growth, you've practiced being weak. Every time you've avoided responsibility, you've practiced being powerless. Every time you've settled for less, you've practiced being ordinary. And practice, my friend, makes permanent. The old you operates from a consciousness of lack. He sees problems where the new you sees opportunities. He feels fear where the new you feels excitement. He makes excuses where the new you makes results happen. He lives in the world of effects, always reacting, always responding, always at the mercy of circumstances. But here's what nobody tells you about this internal war, and why 99% of people lose it before they even realize they're fighting. Your old self doesn't just represent your past. He represents your comfort zone, your familiar patterns, your known limitations. He is the sum total of every story you've told yourself about why you can't, why you won't, why you shouldn't even try. This old self has been with you for years, decades perhaps. He knows your weaknesses intimately. He knows exactly what to whisper to make you surrender. He knows which fears to trigger, which doubts to amplify, which comfortable lies to tell you when the path of transformation becomes difficult. But understand this, the person you admire most, the one living the life you want, they weren't born different. They simply practiced being someone else until that someone became their reality. They killed their former self through repeated acts of becoming. They understood what I'm teaching you now, that you cannot rise to a new level of life while clinging to an old level of identity. The transformation I'm speaking of requires you to become intolerant of your own patterns, not disappointed, intolerant. The way you would react to poison in your food is how you must react to mediocrity in your life. You must develop an allergy to your own excuses so severe that the thought of making one becomes unbearable. Your old self will fight for survival with everything he has. He will whisper that you're being too hard on yourself. He will remind you of past failures. He will make you feel guilty for wanting more than what others accept. He will tell you that you're being unrealistic, that you should be grateful for what you have, that you're asking too much of life. This is where most people surrender. They mistake this resistance for a sign that they're on the wrong path. But this resistance is actually proof that you're on the right path. Your limitations only scream when they're dying. The louder the protest from your old self, the closer you are to breaking free. I have called this dying to your former state. And it's not metaphorical, it's literal. The thoughts you've thought, the emotions you've felt, the actions you've taken, they must actually cease to exist in your new reality. You cannot carry the consciousness of poverty into wealth, the consciousness of failure into success, the consciousness of limitation into freedom. Now, here's what you must understand about the exact process that will kill your old self forever. But I'm warning you, once you begin this process, there's no going back to the comfortable mediocrity you once knew. First, you must starve your old identity of the things that keep it alive. Stop feeding it comfort. Stop giving it easy choices. Stop allowing it to negotiate. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you're literally starving the weak version of yourself to death. Every time you act in spite of not feeling like it, you're withdrawing life force from the old you and feeding it to the new you. The old you wakes up whenever he wants. The new you owns his mornings. The old you reacts to circumstances. The new you creates them. The old you hopes for change. The new you commands it. The old you waits for motivation. The new you operates from discipline. The old you seeks approval. The new you grants it to himself. Second, you must feed your new identity with experiences that strengthen it. Wake up earlier than you want to. Do the work without applause. Make decisions based on who you're becoming, not who you've been. Each act of becoming literally rewrites the story of your life. Each choice made from your new identity weakens the old one. But here's the mistake that ruins everything, and I see 90% of people make it without realizing. They think this is about self-improvement. It's not. This is about self-replacement. You're not trying to fix the old you. You're trying to replace him entirely. You're not upgrading your current self. You're becoming someone completely different. When I speak about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, I'm not talking about pretending. I'm talking about literally becoming the person who already has what you want. That person thinks differently, acts differently, chooses differently. That person has different standards, different expectations, different non-negotiables. You cannot patch up your old identity with new habits and expect transformation. You cannot put new wine in old wineskins. The entire foundation must be rebuilt. The entire structure must be replaced. The entire consciousness must be renewed. This means questioning everything. The old version of you called normal, because normal is the enemy of exceptional. Normal is the cage that keeps eagles walking on the ground. Normal is the graveyard where potential goes to die. The version of you that hits the snooze button, that avoids responsibility, that scrolls instead of builds. He is not your friend. He is your captor. And here's exactly how you know the transformation is working. These are the signs your old self is finally dying. You'll stop seeking approval for your decisions, because you'll approve of yourself. You'll stop explaining your choices to people who wouldn't make them. You'll become comfortable disappointing others, if it means staying true to your vision. Your standards will become so high that your old habits literally cannot survive in their presence. Like trying to breathe underwater, they simply cannot exist in your new environment. The thoughts that once seemed natural will feel foreign. The actions that once seemed normal will feel impossible. People will notice something different about you, but they won't be able to name it. That's because you're no longer carrying the energy of who you used to be. You're embodying the frequency of who you've chosen to become. Your posture changes. Your voice changes. Your presence changes. Everything about you reflects the new identity you've assumed. This is what I mean by walking in the assumption. You don't hope to become great. You assume you already are, and let your actions align with that assumption. You don't try to build confidence. You assume you're already confident and act accordingly. You don't work towards success. You assume you're already successful and make choices from that state. But let me tell you about the final test that determines whether you'll actually succeed or just become another person who tried and failed. The final test comes when your old self makes his last desperate attempt to survive. When you're tired, when you're alone, when no one is watching, that's when he'll offer you the comfort of going back to who you were. He'll remind you how much easier it was before. He'll tell you that you're working too hard, that you deserve a break, that you've already changed enough. He'll paint a picture of the simple life you could have if you just stopped pushing yourself so hard. This is his final seduction, his last chance to reclaim control. This is the moment that separates those who transform from those who just talk about transformation. Will you choose the familiar pain of staying the same, or the unfamiliar discomfort of becoming new? Will you honor the comfort of your old identity, or will you honor the vision of who you're meant to be? Because let me tell you something that will change everything for you. Your future self is already real. He exists in the realm of possibility, waiting for you to claim him through your choices. Every moment you delay is a moment he remains trapped, while your old self continues to rule your life. Every day you postpone the death of your limitations is another day your potential suffocates. The war isn't between you and the world. The war is between who you were and who you're meant to be. And this war isn't fought once. It's fought every morning when you wake up. Every moment you face a choice. Every time you decide whether to rise or remain. It's fought in the small moments when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when the only witness is your own conscience. You must understand that your old self has been telling you a story about who you are, what you're capable of, what you deserve. That story has been playing on repeat in your mind for so long that you've accepted it as truth. But it's not truth. It's simply a story that's been told so many times, it feels real. The person you're becoming has a different story. In his story, you're not limited by your past. In his story, you're not defined by your failures. In his story, you're not bound by what others think is possible for you. In his story, you are the author of your own destiny, the creator of your own reality, the master of your own fate. But stories only have power when we believe them, and belief only has power when we act from it. You must begin to act from the story of who you're becoming, not from the story of who you've been. You must make choices that align with your new identity, not your old one. This requires a level of faith that most people are unwilling to exercise. Faith in the unseen, faith in the untested, faith in the version of yourself that exists only in potential. You must be willing to disappoint the person you've been in order to become the person you're meant to be. Every great transformation in history has required someone to die to their former state and be reborn into a new one. The caterpillar must die for the butterfly to emerge. The seed must die for the tree to grow. The old you must die for the new you to live. This death is not physical, but it is absolute. It means that the thoughts you've thought, the emotions you've felt, the patterns you've followed, they must cease to exist in your new reality. You cannot carry the consciousness of failure into success. You cannot carry the vibration of poverty into wealth. You cannot carry the identity of limitation into freedom. The process of becoming unrecognizable to your former self is not gentle. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. It requires you to question everything you've accepted as true about yourself. It requires you to challenge every limitation you've embraced. It requires you to shatter every ceiling you've placed over your own head. But this discomfort is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's a sign that you're on the right one. The resistance you feel is not your intuition telling you to stop. It's your old self fighting for survival. The doubt that creeps in is not wisdom. It's fear, dressed up as reason. You must develop an unshakable commitment to the vision of who you're becoming. This commitment cannot be emotional. Emotions change. It cannot be motivational. Motivation fades. It must be structural. It must be built into your daily routine, your non-negotiables, your way of being in the world. This means that every decision you make must pass through one filter. Does this align with the person I'm becoming, or does it serve the person I'm outgrowing? Every action, every choice, Every thought must be measured against this standard. If it serves your new identity, it stays. If it serves your old identity, it dies. The person you're becoming doesn't just have better habits. He has a completely different relationship with discipline. He doesn't see discipline as restriction. He sees it as freedom. He doesn't see standards as pressure. He sees them as power. He doesn't see challenges as obstacles. He sees them as opportunities to prove who he's become. Your new identity cannot be built on the foundation of your old one. You cannot simply add new behaviors to old patterns and expect transformation. The entire structure must be rebuilt from the ground up. This is why partial change never works. This is why gradual improvement leads to gradual results. You need radical change to create radical results. Most people are afraid of radical change because they think it means losing themselves. But you're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. The person you've been is not who you are. It's who you learned to be. And what is learned can be unlearned. What is practiced can be repracticed. What is chosen can be chosen again, differently. The real you, the powerful, focused, unstoppable you, has been buried under layers of conditioning, limitation, and fear. The process of transformation is not about becoming someone new. It's about removing everything that isn't you. It's about stripping away the false identity you've worn for so long that you forgot it was a costume. This is why the resistance is so strong. Your old self knows that he's not really you. He's just a role you've been playing. And like any actor who's played a role for too long, you've forgotten where the character ends and you begin. The process of transformation is about remembering who you really are underneath all the layers of who you've pretended to be. The version of you that settles, that compromises, that accepts less than you deserve. That's not you. That's just fear wearing your face. The version of you that doubts, that hesitates, that plays small. That's not you either. That's just conditioning speaking with your voice. The real you is bold. The real you is confident. The real you is relentless in pursuit of your vision. The real you doesn't ask permission. The real you doesn't seek approval. The real you doesn't wait for the right moment, because the real you knows that every moment is the right moment when you decide to make it so. But here's what most people don't understand about this process. The death of your old self is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. Every morning, you must choose to kill the person you were yesterday and become the person you're meant to be today. Every moment, you must choose to act from your new identity rather than your old one. This is why consistency is so crucial. Not because habits are important, but because identity is formed through repetition. Every time you act in alignment with your new identity, you strengthen it. Every time you act from your old identity, you resurrect it. The person you become is simply the person you most consistently choose to be. The tragedy is not that people fail to change, it's that they fail to choose. They wait for transformation to happen to them instead of making it happen through them. They hope for a different life while continuing to live the same way. They dream of a new identity while feeding the old one. But you're different. You're listening to these words because something inside you knows it's time. Time to stop negotiating with your limitations. Time to stop being loyal to your past. Time to stop carrying the weight of who you used to be. The person you're becoming is not just a better version of who you are. He's a completely different person. He thinks different thoughts, feels different emotions, makes different choices. He has different standards, different expectations, different non-negotiables. He operates from a different level of consciousness entirely. This new consciousness cannot be achieved through thinking alone. It must be embodied through action. You must begin to move through the world as the person you're becoming, not as the person you've been. You must speak as he would speak, act as he would act, choose as he would choose. This is what I mean when I say you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must assume the identity of the person who already has what you want, not because you're pretending, but because you're recognizing the truth of who you really are, beneath all the layers of who you've pretended to be. The process of becoming is not about adding something to yourself. It's about subtracting everything that isn't you. It's about removing the mask you've worn for so long that you forgot you were wearing it. It's about shedding the skin you've outgrown, but continue to wear out of habit. This shedding process is uncomfortable because you're leaving behind the familiar. You're walking away from the known. You're stepping into the unknown with nothing but faith to guide you. But this faith is not blind. It's based on the absolute certainty that who you're becoming is who you've always been meant to be. The resistance you feel is not from your true self. It's from the false self that's been in control for too long. Your true self wants to emerge. Your true self wants to express itself. Your true self wants to create the life you've always dreamed of. The only thing standing in the way is the false self that's afraid of losing control. But control is an illusion. The old you was never in control. He was simply reacting to circumstances, responding to conditions, living at the mercy of external events. The new you doesn't seek control. He exercises power. He doesn't react to circumstances. He creates them. He doesn't respond to conditions. He establishes them. This is the difference between living from the outside in and living from the inside out. The old you lived from the outside in, letting external circumstances dictate internal states. The new you lives from the inside out, letting internal states create external circumstances. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of waiting for conditions to change so you can feel different, you change how you feel to create different conditions. Instead of waiting for circumstances to improve so you can act differently, you act differently to improve circumstances. Instead of waiting for life to get better so you can be better, you become better to make life better. The person you're becoming understands that he is not the victim of his circumstances. He is the creator of them. He doesn't happen to life. Life happens through him. He doesn't experience reality. He expresses it. He doesn't find his purpose. He creates it. This understanding completely transforms how you move through the world. You stop looking for opportunities and start creating them. You stop waiting for permission and start granting it to yourself. You stop seeking validation and start providing it for yourself. But this transformation cannot be partial. You cannot be the new you in some areas of your life and the old you in others. Identity is not compartmentalized. It's integrated. The person you are in one area of your life is the person you are in all areas of your life. This is why surface-level changes never create lasting transformation. You cannot change your results without changing your identity. You cannot change your circumstances without changing your consciousness. You cannot change your life without changing yourself. The person you've been created, the life you're living. If you want a different life, you must become a different person. Not a slightly improved version of who you are, but a fundamentally different person with a fundamentally different way of being in the world. This different way of being is not about doing more. It's about being more. It's not about having more. It's about becoming more. It's not about getting different results. It's about becoming a different cause. The old you was focused on effects, trying to change results without changing causes. The new you is focused on causes, understanding that when you change the cause, the effects must change as well. When you change who you are, what you have must change to match. This is the law of correspondence in action. As above, so below. As within, so without. As you are, so you experience. Change your identity, and your reality must change to reflect it. This is not philosophy. This is practical metaphysics. This is how the universe works. But here's the crucial point that determines whether this works for you or not. You must make this change at the level of identity, not just behavior. Behavior modification can create temporary change, but identity transformation creates permanent change. Behavior is what you do, but identity is who you are. The person you're becoming is not just someone who does different things. He's someone who is fundamentally different. He doesn't just act confidently. He is confident. He doesn't just behave successfully. He is successful. He doesn't just do disciplined things. He is disciplined. This is the difference between having and being. The old you was focused on having more money, having better relationships, having a better life. The new you is focused on being wealthy, being loving, being successful. When you change what you are, what you have must change to match. So here's my final question for you, and your answer will determine everything that happens next. Are you ready to become unrecognizable to your former self? Are you ready to make choices that your old identity would never make? Are you ready to live from a place of power instead of a place of hope? Because if you are, then everything changes starting now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances align. Now, the person you're capable of becoming is not a future possibility. He's a present choice. And that choice, made consistently, becomes your new reality. Your old self had his time. He served a purpose. He got you to where you are. But where you are is not where you're going. Where you're going requires someone new, someone stronger, someone who's not afraid to claim what's his, someone who's not willing to settle for less than everything he's capable of. The question isn't whether you can change. The question is whether you will. Whether you'll finally stop being loyal to the limitations that have kept you small and start being faithful to the vision that calls you forward. Whether you'll finally kill the version of yourself that's been killing your dreams. If this message has awakened something in you, if you feel that shift happening inside as you hear these words, then you're ready. You're ready to stop being a victim of your past and start being the architect of your future. You're ready to stop reacting to your life and start creating it. You're ready to stop hoping for change and start commanding it. The death of your former self is not a loss. It's a liberation. It's not an ending. It's a beginning. It's not a tragedy. It's a triumph. Because in his death, you are reborn. In his absence, you are present. In his weakness, you find your strength. The transformation begins now. The old you dies now. The new you is born now. Not gradually, not eventually, not someday. Now. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your opportunity to finally become who you've always been meant to be. The only question remaining is this: will you take it?